Hello and welcome to Quilt Addicts Anonymous. I'm Stephanie Soebbing. I am coming to you from my sunroom. This used to be my video studio. Now it is my kids' playroom because I've got COVID. We cleared out Quilt Addicts Anonymous for a day so I could get in and film the sewing tutorial and quilt the quilt. But for the next week or so, I'm going to be working from home because me and my entire family have it. We're doing fine. My voice is a little off, but it has been fairly mild. It's been a couple of crappy days, but we've been pretty thankful for that we've still been able to work and everyone has been pretty much okay. But I'm going to do the quilting play-by-play for you here on our latest quilt, Blooming Star. So that one is really fun. We actually just took the photos of it outside. It was really fun to get out of your house, but also get to see it doing the quilt drop. That's always a fun thing. And this was honestly not my finest quilting ever, but I felt it was really important to still show it to you guys because I want to show you how I fix things when they don't quite work out quite right, and also how I work when I really just have to get things done fast, because I did like a 12-hour day yesterday when I quilted this, but I did not have another day. I didn't want our team to get behind in filling orders, so I didn't want to close everything down for a second day so I could be in there quilting. So I just did what I could do in the time I had, and that's okay sometimes, and we have to be all right with that. So let's take a peek at the quilting footage, and there may still be kits available for this. The fabric Eden from Wyndham Fabrics is quite lovely, and we probably have some yardage available for that as well. So let's take a peek and take a look at what I did. All right, so this is what I wanted to do across the entire quilt, was outline every single diamond and then do like a swirl on the inside so it would be kind of radiating out from the center. But when I started doing that first top row, I realized how long it was taking. I realized there was just no way for me to be able to do it in one day. And it would have looked fantastic. It would have done the quilt like a ton of justice. It would have been gorgeous. But sometimes you just have to know your limitations. And for me, I knew that if I had all the time in the world, that would have worked. But when you're sick and you only have one day to do it because you need to let everybody else get back into the building, it just was not plausible. So I had already committed to starting this design in the background, so I knew I was going to finish that out. So I did it in all of the background diamonds and triangles. But for everything else, I just kind of did an all-over design that we'll see in a little bit. So what happened when I pinned everything onto the leaders, I accidentally stretched out that bottom, and I did all the things that I normally do to prevent it. I had stitch and stay stitch around the edges. I thought I wasn't pulling it too tight, but I did. So you can see there's quite a bit of fullness there. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to define that block. So I'm going to do that by just stitching in the ditch around the edges of the block. And when we say stitch in the ditch, when you press your seams open, you're just stitching right next to the seam. So what I wanted to do was just do these swirls kind of from point to point on the diamond. So here we have a triangle, and you can see that it is doing a pretty good job of moving that fabric around. Once this quilt is like washed and dried, it probably won't be very obvious that I had eased in quite a bit there. The swirl is a really forgiving stitch for when you have problems like this. Now, I didn't know I was going to have problems like this when I started it. The top was perfectly fine because I didn't stretch that out. But if you know you have a quilt that has problems, this is a good stitch to go with. So that's just what I did, was I would go up and down by outlining first. Then I would fill in with those swirls, trying to keep them all about the same density and consistency, and then I would go from there. And if you want more on the swirl stitch, we dedicated an entire week, I think it was 5 or 6 videos, maybe 7, to it in our free motion quilting course, where we teach you step by step how to master a design like this using quilting rulers or quilting stencils first, and then how to customize it and be able to freehand it later. So that's definitely something you want to check out if you want to learn more about swirls. So I'm going to let you guys just kind of watch as I kind of work in all this fullness, and I'll pick you back up when we get to a full diamond so you can see kind of what I had in mind for what I originally wanted to do for the quilt. All right, so here we are starting a diamond. So you're gonna see me first outline it. That one side had already kind of been done because I had outlined it as I went down on that triangle. So here you can see I'm getting to the tip. No need to do the bottom because it's already been tacked down. But you can see my plan here where I'm gonna do swirlies across that diamond, working my way from point to point. And this would have just looked absolutely fantastic on the quilt as a whole, but it also would have taken significantly more time than I had to complete this quilt top, because I had to do all the piecing video and quilt it in one day, and that just was not going to work for being able to execute this design. So you can see that I'm now traveling to the next one on that original stitching line, and just moving right on to that next diamond that we're going to see here. I believe there's 3 in a row at the bottom. Well, 2 full ones and then 1 partial. And you can see I'm just outlining, and then I'm going to do point to point again, just doing those swirls. And it really is fun. I love doing things like this where you're containing the same sort of textural element in each individual diamond block, because it kind of has the effect of having the texture kind of come out and radiate out with the star design, and it looks so cool. We did this, not this exact, we did wavy lines on ultraviolet, which is the last kind of star medallion one that we did for Stashing with Stephanie, and it just looks so fabulous when it was done, because it was a really simple quilting stitch, but in the end it just looks so neat because it sort of has the texture of the quilting follow the lines of the stars coming out, which is really always a very fun thing. So here I'm kind of at the end. It's not a full star, so I'm kind of just winging it, but still kind of having it come in to hit that point, because that would have been like the point of the diamond. So I think I've got one more here to do. It's another partial, but again, we always start by outlining. And it may look a little confusing here because each one of those diamonds has kind of a sashing bit on the outside of it. So that is in fact the diamond, and then this is its fully contained unit. But I was going to do the same texture across both the fat quarter block and that sashing, and just sort of kind of treat them all as one unit. You certainly could do different things. You could do something completely separate in the diamond than you end up doing in the sashing. It is all just a matter of how much time you have to give it, and you know how fancy you personally want to make it for that stitch. All right, so here we are. We're going to get started in the actual quilting. I'm still kind of coming in there to hit the point. That way I don't have threads at the edge. But I'm basically doing a loopy meander here, and this is something we also cover in our free motion quilting series. We have a whole series of videos dedicated to this. And then every once in a while I'm throwing in a flower. So there's one right there where I'm kind of just circling around an individual loop 4 or 5 times to create that. And I really kind of use those sparingly. I didn't want them to be all over the place. I just wanted it to be every once in a while. And I did that for a couple of reasons. One, I felt that although there are a lot of flowers in this, that flower design itself is not a super like fancy design. Like, it's way more whimsical than I feel like the fabric was for here. And I just wanted to do something more than a loopy meander, even though I really didn't have a lot of time. But I also wanted to just, elevate it a little bit, but I don't know that this was the best way to elevate it. It was just what I could think of at the time when my plan A definitely wasn't going to work, and I needed something else to figure out. Alright, I think here is another flower. You can see I did this first loop, and then I'm just looping around and meeting that center. And I'm doing that 4 or 5 times to create the petals. I'm trying to keep the petals about the same size. Some of them end up kind of large, and I think that's fine, because in nature, it's not like everything is symmetrical. Our faces are symmetrical, flowers are symmetrical. So if you end up with some flower petals that are a little bit bigger, it's not a big deal. My big thing was I tried to not keep it like all in the same spot. Like if I had one kind of up high in the past and then the next one I did a little bit lower. That one I did in a diamond, and then I did not do another one in the one next to it because I wanted it to appear more random as opposed to where they were placed. All right, here's another flower. You see I can do that kind of circles first. And we had a thread break. It always breaks like right before the end. It's just how life is, I think. You either run out of bobbin thread or your thread breaks. All right, so you can see I'm kind of looping around to that center there. And the lighting was not great. It was pretty dark at this point in the evening. But we've got to fill in down there. My goal is mostly just to fill in evenly with that loop. And the floral does work really well with a Loopy Meander when you want it to be really whimsical. It works great on little girls' quilts or when you have like a really like fun print. I'm not, like I said, this was not my favorite quilting that I've ever done. It got the job done. The quilt is finished. It looks fabulous. I think I had just in my mind envisioned what I thought it was going to be, and I wasn't able to execute that because of time and being sick. And you know, it is what it is, and it's fine. It got done. It got quilted. Would I do it differently if I had another chance? Yep, probably, for sure. But this was fun, and it turned out really fun. All right, so again, you're going to see me use that ruler to get out to the edge. That way I didn't have any of the threads to cut off in the center, because we can avoid that. It's always a good idea. All right, so it's getting dark outside. I'm losing light, so I'm going to let that be with you guys. I hope that this is like, I don't know, it makes you feel good to know that I'm not always super excited with the way things turn out that I do, because I'm sure you guys have that feeling sometimes too. And I want you to know that I'm not always perfect, because I know like when we show blooper reels, people are like, oh, you always make it look so perfect. And it's not. It's the magic of editing. I mess up a lot of times. And sometimes you just can't do what you want to do because there just is not time to do it. And that was definitely the case here. I had that one day, and I had a lot to do in that one day, and I had to pick and choose. And the choice was to go with a less intense quilting and just do the all over design on the inside, even though it wasn't what like my heart really wanted to do on this quilt. It was what I had to do in order to be able to get it done and still have our team be able to get orders out to you guys. So, you know, it works. The quilt turned out beautiful. I'm very happy with how it turned out. Again, just not my first choice, and sometimes we have to live with that as quilters. We're on a deadline for something. All right, well, check out Stashin' with Stephanie. It's our fabric subscription club over at shop.quiltaddictsanonymous.com. We send you 10 fat quarters every month, and then you get a free pattern that's been inspired by the fabric. This month was Blooming Star, which is what we saw that I was quilting, and we did a piecing tutorial a couple of days ago. If you join, you don't just get that pattern for free. You also get access to all of our previous Stashin' with Stephanie patterns for free as soon as you are logged in as a member. And you also get exclusive discounts on fabric that we featured in Stashin' with Stephanie, both this month and past months when we still have it. We don't always still have it. Sometimes it's sold out. But also, say you like this quilt, you really love it, you want to go sign up, this is not the quilt that you're going to get. This bundle has been shipped out to our members. It's going to be a different fabric next month when you get your first bundle. So make sure that if you really like this, that you go grab a quilt kit, because that is the only way that you're going to get your hands on this fabric. All you have to do is sign up first, and then on your second checkout, as long as you're logged in, it's going to recognize you. You're going to get that automatic discount on the fabric, and you'll be able to get it right then and there. And you can start working on it while you're waiting for your first bundle. And while I'm talking about when your first bundle ships, this confuses people every month. So we ship around the 20th of the month after you have signed up. So if you sign up by the end of May, your first bundle will ship around the 20th of June. If you sign up on June 1st or later, then you're looking at getting your first shipment shipping to you around the 20th of July. We do that for a couple reasons. The biggest one is that our members get a 24-hour head start on buying all the fabric, because we want them to be able to get additional fabric. You just want some loving, huh? We want them to be able to get additional fabric to be able to turn their bundle into a full quilt kit with what we call a finishing kit. And so we want them to have that exclusive head start. And sometimes things do sell out when they do that. And if we didn't send it all out at the same time, then nobody would get the same fair shot, and that's not okay. The other part is we need to know exactly how many to send out to you guys, because we've got over 800 people in the club now, and it fluctuates from month to month, so we need to know.
800?
I know, it's gotten pretty big. And so we need to know how many to get, because it's a big production to do it. So go check it out. Stash them with Stephanie. Go to Quilt Addicts Anonymous, or shop.quiltaddictsanonymous.com, and you can see it for yourself. I'm gonna go get this one to bed, and you guys have a good day and happy quilting. We're done reading. Here, give me a hug. We've all been stuck in the house together for a while. I think we're a little stir crazy. Hey, Mom, we have a couple more minutes. Just a couple more minutes.
I can't take the
Why can't you be in it? A little bit.